on my way to a gravel event today, the Big Scrub Gravel Buzz in Ocala. This is a ride I've not done before. I was going to do it last year and I got sick. I had the flu, so couldn't do it. There's a 58-mile option and a 95-mile option. My goal today is to do the 95. It's going to depend on how I feel. Both rides stay together for the first 25 miles and then they split off. I've been ramping up my training. I'm up to about 70 miles solo on gravel. I don't like ramping up too fast because I've had IT band problems in the past, but I'm feeling good. IT band is good. I've been doing all my hip strengthening exercises, so I'm ramping up for a big event this summer. I'm not going to announce it yet until I know it's 100%, but it's pretty exciting. In fact, it's pretty much a dream come true, and if I get to do it, I'm going to document the training and everything for it, but that's coming up. I want to make sure it's going to happen.
Gravel at the finish gets a world championship jersey, and actually Matt is wearing last year's jersey as he was the first male finisher last year. That's what it'll look like.
So for this video, I figured I'd do a voiceover and just talk through the ride rather than just playing music. So here we are rolling out. I'm going to estimate there were maybe 50 riders on this. So we had about a 10-mile ride out to the first dirt segment. So here is the first dirt segment. And the pace was pretty mellow for a while. And this was a really pretty section of the forest. The roads were really, really nice on this ride. We didn't hit much sand before the rest stop. That's when things got interesting, but decent tree cover on this section of the forest. And by the way, we're riding in the Ocala National Forest, a huge plot of land, and there are a plethora of dirt roads. This is the first time I've actually been riding dirt roads in the Ocala National Forest. Now we come to a section where we go kind of through some gates here and over some grass. It was a pretty cool area. This reminded me of cyclocross racing right here. And I just want to say right up front that the Niner RLT9 RDO did an amazing job on this ride. I saw probably 4, 5, or 6 giant TCX bikes. So that is a really popular bike. As most of you who watch my channel know, I have a giant TCX. It's my cyclocross race bike. But the Niner RLT9 RDO takes comfort to a whole new level. I could have ridden my TCX on this ride. It was not too rough. There were a few washboard sections later in the route, but the gravel was not overly rough, you know, potholes or things like that. So the TCX would have done fine. That's a fast bike, but I just absolutely love the comfort of my Niner RLT9 RDO. Not very much water on this course yesterday. This was the only, I think, water we had to ride through. But right after this, some riders went down. I didn't see the crash, but I saw the aftermath. Everybody was okay. One guy, I think his tire kind of got caught in a rut or went sideways and took out Justin up there. You see Justin on the right. Justin is a local pro. He's actually done some racing in Europe on the road. He actually didn't even fall. He was able to kind of clip out and run, and he made it through safely. Both guys were okay. Here we are coming up to another gate. Regrouped after the crash. So this is a group ride that kind of turns into a race later on, as we typically do with these rides. But the cool thing is, if there's a crash or something like that, everybody just waits and regroups. I love these gravel events. This is a pretty steep hill. This is probably the longest hill that we had to do. Longest and steepest. There were some other hills coming up later, but that was a really good hill. And coming up to some other sections here, again, really a lot of variety on this course. You can see a levee there on the right, and then a little bit of sand coming up right here. But again, not much sand at all on the first part of the race. And then coming up, we hit some grass and kind of slow speeds, about 14, 15 miles an hour on this grass. It was just kind of bumpy. This is probably the bumpiest part of the whole course. And this grass was on about a mile. Back onto the gravel here. This was really good gravel. And then now back onto Off the pavement, back onto more gravel. The pace kind of mellowed out here for a little bit. This was a vast amount of gravel right here. This ride was incredibly remote. We were just in the middle of nowhere. This was a 100% self-supported ride, although you could put some water bottles in a cooler, and a guy drove it up to the rest stop, which was really cool. So food, water, you could have him transport up to the 50-mile mark. But just absolutely remote forest, and we were on gravel for I don't know how many miles at this point, but it was pretty much all gravel from this point on. Just a tad bit of pavement after the rest stop, back on gravel. So we probably were on gravel for 50 miles. Awesome ride. That's a Navy bombing range in front of us. You can barely read that sign there, but it says Navy bombing range, no trespassing. That's probably a good sign to heed. So we're going around the bombing range here. Really smooth gravel roads. There's a bunch of riders behind me. I just kind of got in front to get some video. Really beautiful section of gravel. Not a lot of tree cover though on this part. It was a hot day. I would say temps were in the mid 80s. We were unseasonably cold in January, and we are unseasonably warm in February. It's supposed to cool off next week, but the heat kind of played a factor on this ride. Later on, I'll talk about it, but I started cramping, and not too bad, but I hardly ever cramp on a ride. This is a really pretty section of road. Had some curves on it, but you can see no tree cover at all. Thankfully, we had a few clouds come in. It wasn't overly humid like we get in the summertime, but it was pretty warm. So that's K-Dog in front. K-Dog is one of the fastest guys you'll ever meet for a guy who's in his 60s. That guy is a beast. And we had a split in the group, but we got back together here because there was a sand section and there was a split, a breakaway. I bridged up, stayed with the lead group, but there were some hammerheads behind us pulling everybody else back up. So we kind of regrouped, and now we are back together. Now here we are rolling into the rest stop. So this is at the 50-mile mark. We took about 5 minutes, so really fun just to hang out, talk, get some water, get some food, and get back on the bike. Now after the rest stop is where we started to hit some sand. And it wasn't continuous sand, but you would just hit these pockets, and it actually played a pretty big factor in the race because it started to cause some splits. So you had some people that got through quickly, especially the guys on the mountain bikes. They got through really quickly, and people that are more experienced riding through sand were able to get through quickly. And if you got caught behind someone who didn't get through quite so smoothly, you had to get around and bridge back up. And it actually caused a crash coming up. So JOM from Gravel Cyclist crashed, and I didn't get it on video, but he did. In fact, he had a point of view camera on, so I'll link his video when it's uploaded. But it was a benign crash. I mean, it was a soft crash. So I'm pretty experienced riding through sand with cyclocross, but on these you're hitting the sand pretty fast, so it's a whole different story. I mean, JOM's a really good rider, and his front wheel just washed out. So we regrouped after that, and you can see people walking through the sand. It was really bad there. So now it's hammer time, and because of these sand pockets, there was a split in the group, and about 6 or 7 riders got away, and I got caught behind one of the splits and just didn't want to go into the red zone to catch up. I'm glad I didn't, because I was pretty hurting by the end of the ride. I probably could have caught back up, but I would have suffered and gotten dropped again. So now I'm just trying to find guys to ride with. So I ended up riding with Larry right there, and in front of him is Mark, and we just rode together for about 20 miles or so. And like I just showed there, that's where I started to cramp. Not too bad. I started popping my enduro lights. So here we are cruising together. Like I said, about 20 miles we rode together, and then I finally, at about 75 miles into the ride, so about 20 miles to go, I just started riding by myself and let those guys go ahead, and just completely went into cruising mode, bike touring mode, 15 to 18 miles an hour. And nothing real hard, just cruised back in. It was nice. I mean, it was, I was by myself, Just kind of cruising, making sure my IT band was okay. I was sick of Cliff Bars by the end of that ride. So here I am cruising through town, and the ride started and ended at this craft brewery, Infinite Ale Works in Ocala, Florida. Really good craft brewery, and you get one free beer with your ride, which was well deserved. I'm here with Larry, who I hung with for a while, and then I popped at 20 to go and just toured back in myself, and now we're at Infinite Ale Works, enjoying a little post-ride beverage. How'd the ride go for you, Larry?
Painful.
It was hot out there,
Very
wasn't it?
painful, hot, painful.
All right, so Justin is the winner of the jersey. Congrats, Justin.
Thank you.
So what words do you have for aspiring athletes that want to win the Big Scrub Gravel Buzz jersey?
Definitely for the first 50 miles, just hang in, don't do any work, save your energy. And then the last, 34 miles, I'd say just get towards the front, because the soft sand was definitely a factor in today's race. It was deadly. And then just wait for the perfect time and hit it.
Cool. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
How'd it go, Jason?
Well, this was actually my fourth ride back after hernia surgery, double hernia surgery, and I wasn't really expecting much, to be honest with you. My main goal was to finish. That happened. I got dropped pretty hard from the front group, and I did crash today as well. There was this really tricky sandy section, and I thought I was going to make it, no worries, and the front wheel dug in and over the bar, and I got it on camera, so that's the best part. But yeah, happy to be here. Yeah, it's just part of my training for some races this year, so all good.
Very good. I'll link your video in this one.
No worries, mate. Thanks. How's your ride?
It was good. I got popped about mile 62, and and then 75 or 80, I just cruised back down.
It's so desolate out there, and you go around a corner, or there's another hill. It's like, oh my god, there's another hill. And I've ridden some desolate areas, but there was just no civilization out there at all. And that was hard part. And thankfully I had some good company today, which really helped. Otherwise I would have just like cracked and just probably taken 40 back into Ocala when I crossed it. So it crossed my mind. We also thought about calling Uber, so it was anyway. So anyway, thanks for the questioning.
Yeah, man, good to see you back on the bike.